Hi Dover, Year 4. We've got another lesson on Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll. However, in today's lesson, we are not going to be reading any further. We're going to be doing a little quiz. So we're going to be quizzing on Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. So we've got 5 questions on Chapter 3 and 5 questions on Chapter 4. So please make sure you've got your books ready and a pencil ready so that you're ready to write down the answers to our 10 questions. I'll read out the 5 questions for Chapter 3. I'll then read out the 5 questions for Chapter 4, and then we'll go through all of the answers at the end. Okay, good luck, boys and girls. Chapter 3, question 1. Who is the subject of the dry story the mouse tells to Alice and the other animals? Is it William the Conqueror, Julius Caesar, Hercules, or the Queen? Who is the subject of the dry story the mouse tells to Alice and the other animals? William the Conqueror, Julius Caesar, Hercules, or the Queen? Question 2. If you need to pause the video at any point during the questions, please do so. So if I'm reading too quickly, please just pause. Question 2. Who assigns Alice the task of passing out prizes to the winners of the caucus race? Was it the mouse, the dodo, the lorry, or the eaglet? Who assigns Alice the task of passing out prizes to the winners of the caucus race? The mouse, the dodo, the lorry, or the eaglet? Question 3. What does Alice pass out to all the animals as a prize for winning the caucus race? Is it cake, playing cards, mints, or jars of marmalade? What does Alice pass out to all the animals as a prize for winning the caucus race? Cake, playing cards, mints, or jars of marmalade? Question 4. What does Alice give to the dodo, which he in turn presents to her as a prize? So Alice gives something to the dodo, which he then gives to her as a prize. Was it a thimble, a pocket watch, a top hat, or a telephone? What does Alice give to the dodo, which he in turn presents to her as a prize? A thimble, a pocket watch, a top hat, or a telephone? And question 5. What 2 homophonic words does Alice become confused by when the mouse tells his story? Now remember, homophones are 2 words that sound the same, but they have different meanings. So we're looking for 2 homophonic words that sound the same but have different meanings that Alice became confused by when the mouse tells his story. Was it furry and fury? Was it tail and tail? Was it there and there? Or was it axes and axis? What 2 homophonic words does Alice become confused by when the mouse tells his story? Furry and fury, tail and tail, there and there, or axis and axis? So that's the end of our chapter 3 questions. We're now on to our chapter 4 questions. Question 1. Who is Mary Ann? Is Mary Ann the rabbit's maid, the rabbit's valet, the rabbit's sister, or the rabbit's nurse? Who is Mary Ann? The rabbit's maid, the rabbit's valet, the rabbit's sister, or the rabbit's nurse? Question 2. What type of animal is Bill, the servant that climbs down the chimney to deal with Alice? A cat, an owl, a lizard, or a cockroach? What type of animal is Bill, the servant that climbs down the chimney to deal with Alice? A cat, an owl, a lizard, or a cockroach? Question 3. While Alice is trapped in the rabbit's house, the crowd outside begins throwing pebbles, which turn into what? Mice, cakes, coins, or snowballs? While Alice is trapped in the rabbit's house, the crowd outside begins throwing pebbles, which turn into mice, cakes, coins, or snowballs? Question 4. After fleeing from the rabbit's house, what giant animal does Alice encounter? A puppy, a hippo, a snake, and a weasel. After fleeing from the rabbit's house, what giant animal does Alice encounter? A puppy, a hippo, a snake, or a weasel? And question 5, this is your final question. What is the caterpillar doing when Alice first encounters him? Is he singing, dancing, sleeping, or smoking? What is the caterpillar doing when Alice first encounters him? Singing, dancing, sleeping, or smoking? Okay, so that is our 10 questions. So I'm now going to go through the answers, starting from our very first question in chapter 3. Who is the subject of the dry story the mouse tells to Alice and the other animals? It was William the Conqueror. Question 2. Who assigns Alice the task of passing out prizes to the winners of the caucus race? It was the dodo. Question 3. What does Alice pass out to all the animals as a prize for winning the caucus race? It was mints. Question 4. What does Alice give to the dodo, which he in turn presents to her as a prize? It was a thimble. And question 5. What two homophonic words does Alice become confused by when the mouse tells his story? It was tail and tail, as in the tail a story and the tail that you get on an animal. Alright, so that's our chapter 3 questions marked. Let's look at our chapter 4 questions. Question 1 for chapter 4. Who is Mary Ann? She was the rabbit's maid. Question 2. What type of animal is Bill, the servant that climbs down the chimney to deal with Alice? He was a lizard. Question 3. While Alice is trapped in the rabbit's house, the crowd outside begins throwing pebbles, which turn into cakes. Question 4. After fleeing from the rabbit's house, what giant animal does Alice encounter? It is a puppy. What is the caterpillar doing when Alice first encounters him? He is smoking. Okay, so that is a little check-in to see where we are with chapters 3 and 4, how much we've remembered. So I hope we've done well, boys and girls.